You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 72nd episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. I'm the little guy in Minneapolis. Joining me as always is Spencer Howe in Boston, Massachusetts.
Hello, little guy. How are you?
Good. How are you doing up there?
Pretty good. Ready to get another show on the road.
All right. And joining us, not as always, he's back from his mini vacation.
Self-imposed exile.
Self-imposed vacation. Tim, the super rookie, the blue-buttered butterfly, Hayes.
I'm here. It was nice to kind of take a break, step away from things, but I'm happy to be back in the swing. And I got to admit, guys, after 72 episodes, I can't believe it only took us 5 takes to get an intro that for all of our listeners, which, by the way, have increased since I've left the show. And it makes me feel a little disappointed. So I want to bring it all back down a level.
That's good to hear. Yeah, let's get rid of those new additions to our podcasting listening family.
Yeah, we don't want this to get out of hand.
Yeah, we need to get rid of those guys. And of course, the big news for me, just to rehash, guys, we haven't had a chance. I haven't talked to you about it. But Carlos Betancourt, some Movistar, no longer a fan of AG2R. I am.
Is that the way you're going to start talking now?
Sure.
Yeah, that was exciting. I guess kind of exciting. I'd rather that he was on AG2R, but Movistar's all right.
I think it's the perfect place for him. But anyways, so guys, lots of things going on.
Do you think it's a perfect place for him? I don't know if anything's perfect place for him. I think like a sweet shop.
I think it's a perfect place for him because they're going to be able to control him. They're going to be able to watch what he's doing a little bit more than a French team.
You can't control the gummy bear. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully
That's crazy talk.
Quintana's a good influence on him, or he's got more of the folks he's known longer around him. But who knows? Well,
so with the mentioning Quintana, I think right away we should just get into the Vuelta, but we do have a lot to talk about tonight. In particular, we're going to go over the newest controversy in the cross season. We're going to go over, basic Greenway etiquette. NPR is doing stories now on it. And then we're going to go over our very own live show. And Spencer, do you have the details just to go over? Because the live show is around the corner.
The live show is around the corner. It's probably coming up a little quicker than any of us are expecting. But so the show is up. Tickets are available online right now. We are playing, as we've mentioned, at the Coalition Theater in Richmond, Virginia, the Friday night of the World's weekend. So we do, if you're going to be in Richmond, that's the place to be Friday night, 10 p.m. It's going to be awesome. Get your tickets. It's only $5. We've got a hot link for you to take you straight to where to get tickets. You can go to bit.ly/slowrva and you'll find all the info there. And we hope to see you out there, man. It's going to be awesome.
bit.ly/slowrva.
Spencer said it's the Worlds weekend, but just in case people don't know when Worlds is, it's 9/25.
Yeah, it's a Friday night. Going to be excited.
Night, just a couple weeks away.
Come drink some.
It's the same day
with us.
Is U23 races that day, right? Am I correct?
I don't think so. I think isn't Friday the day off? Isn't that like?
Oh, really?
Course,
yeah, it could be.
Course
review. Yeah, so obviously the show is going to go off without a hitch here. We've got everything dialed in, and we're ready to go. So, we're just going to pull up that calendar and actually take a look. But
cool.
So we hope to see everybody there. And again, it should be a good time. And we're going to give you all types of cool advice on how most to enjoy the Richmond World Championships, like expert opinions. So you can stand near other cycling fans and act like you know what you're talking about. So you can be like, ooh, that's Peter Sagan. He's pretty good.
We should do the whole show should just be like tips for things that you can sort of offhandedly, casually say slightly under your breath, but just loud enough that people hear you and think you have a lot of knowledge, you know?
That's right. And we'll be taking questions.
Like deep knowledge about like the Polish team or something, like real deep cuts. Like, oh, that guy has going to be a good worker in the first hour.
Oh man, really glad they switched up the skin suits this year. Yeah.
So it should be a good time. I'm very excited for it, guys, and I think that we're gonna have a good time that Friday night at the theater. So go to bit.ly/slowrva and get your $5 ticket. What an experience! All right,
it'll be great.
So guys,
let's talk about the Volta.
And tomorrow happens to be what some are saying the hardest Grand Tour stage of all time. As they go into,
when we say tomorrow, we mean the day that everybody will be listening to this podcast on.
That's right. So
the first chance they'll have to listen to this. So when we say tomorrow, we mean today.
Yeah.
So what we could do
Wednesday when you're hearing this, but it's Tuesday right now.
What we could do is actually we could do a live like where Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin and talk about what's happening. So let me give it to you right now. Nairo Quintana wins. Ooh, Valverde takes second. Chris Froome is popped.
That wasn't at all. If you were going to do it Liggity, you'd have to be like, oh, he's on the edge of his saddle, and oh, Quintana attacked just like a certain Mr. Lance Armstrong used to.
Dancing on the pedals.
And
is that Nicholas Roach coming up to he's going to take the win. I'm sorry, there's still 500 meters left, and that's Chris Froome.
It looks like he's 7th, actually, not first.
He won't be first. So, Timmy, you're pulling for Quintana, obviously, because you have a one-track mind, and you only pull for Quintana all the time. Spencer, who do you peg for tomorrow? Because it's like the most ridiculous day ever. Like they're making big stink about it being the hardest stage ever. 6 climbs, 138K, so it's not a lot of K. It's like 6,000 feet of climbing or something. Or maybe I'm making that up. Maybe it's 4,500 or 5,000, but it's ridiculous, whatever it is.
It's completely ridiculous. And I mean, those kind of stages are really hard to pick. I mean, you look at the profile and there's 1, 2, 3 Cat 1s, followed by a Beyond category, and then a Cat 2, and then it finishes on a Cat 1. Everyone's going to be destroyed. So, I mean, I kind of think, you want to say somebody like a Froome is going to want to stamp his authority on the hardest stage, but I kind of think it's going to be a little more of a dark horse. I think somebody like, I don't know. I almost want to say Joachim Rodriguez, but I don't think he'll do it. But somebody like that.
You're only saying that because Spencer, you're only saying that because that's the picture that's on Cycling News right now of this. Yes.
Well, it is. It is. When they send the article about it.
All right, I got a prediction.
It's a good pick.
No.
He's second overall right now. It's not like he's not right now.
This stage will be won by Rafael Micah. How about that?
Okay, there we go. Now, I got to say that this profile looks like shark's teeth. And the best part is it's only 138 kilometers long. So it's going to be short and it's going to be hard. And it is going to be painful.
They might just neutralize each other, though. I mean, it might be like, we've had this in other tours in the last few years where they make these ridiculous hard stages, like in the Giro, and then everybody just kind of looks at each other the whole time. Like nobody wants to take a chance.
See, nobody
wants to blow it up.
See, what I believe is going to happen is that there'll be a bona fide break that goes off on this, and that's where the stage winner will come from. But there will be some attacks near the end there. Because there will be some time differences.
There will, but I think everyone's afraid. Like the formula for a stage is like maybe there's 3 big climbs, and so guys kind of have an idea of how to pace themselves. But like 6 climbs, this much climbing, like nobody really knows. Especially the day after a rest day, like you don't know how people just don't know how their bodies are going to respond.
Big question, without saying who's going to win the stage, is
I already said who's going to win the stage.
Is Dumoulin
yeah,
going to still be in the red jersey at the end of the day?
I think he almost has a better chance because it is such a ridiculous stage, even though he's not like the world's greatest climber and they're like making a big deal about how he's like too heavy and blah, blah, blah to like hang with the pure climbers and all this crap. But like, because they'll kind of neutralize each other, I think he almost has a better chance than if it was a traditional mountain stage and these guys like, it was typical enough they knew they could like blow the race apart. Like, and he's got a minute on Rodriguez. He's got like 57 seconds. So, like he could lose some time and stay up there far enough that then if he can like hold off on the next mountain stages, he could crush the time trial and be right in there with a podium shot.
Well, let's pivot on that, little guy. Let's go from what you were saying, because most of our listeners are going to be joining us after the stage. So pivot this into the final two weeks of the Vuelta.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is a good chance that Dumoulin even ends up on the podium? Is he the real big star so far of the Vuelta? And because I tell you, I've been enjoying watching him race.
I think so. He's obviously good, and we haven't got to the time trial yet, which is his thing. So if he's climbing this well, I can see him having a high place. Like him and Roach have been like the biggest surprises to me. Like obviously Roach has finished top 10 in races, but he kind of hasn't done anything for years. And especially now that he's on Sky, like you just don't expect him to like actually be riding GC again. He actually seems legit. Like it kind of sucks for him that he's on Sky right now because obviously he's not the team leader. And on any other team, they'd be all in for him right now. I don't know.
What do you think, Spencer? How long is he going to last?
I think he's going to surprise some people. I think he's in it to win it. He's been knocking on the door for a while. He's one of those guys I've had on my Velogames teams for a while. So
is he on your Velogames team right now?
He's on, yeah, and that's
sure
why
is.
Spencer's doing actually okay.
Okay, okay. We'll get to that later.
So Chavez, I would say would be the other revelation to most folks. Kind of in that first week, he's kind of held tough and put together. I know most people knew that he could compete and climb, but he's put together some
things.
He's
in a good spot still. He could maybe round to resurgence, except for the fact that he's on Orica Green Edge, and they seem to only come for the first week of every tour, and then sort of like go into like shutdown mode for 2 weeks.
Well, that's because the bus gets unstuck. So I think that the big revelation for me, and not really a revelation, but guys, Nicholas Roach, like continually up there all the time. Yeah. How awesome is that?
It's cool. He's not really my favorite rider
thanks,
at all.
Spencer.
But it's like
thanks, Spencer.
Okay.
Well, come on, Spencer. What does that mean?
Well, Spencer's just bummed because Dan Martin's out. Like he's probably still bummed about Dan Martin getting knocked out of the race. Martin was actually riding really well. I thought Martin had a legitimate GC chance to be like top 5.
You guys are doing your best, Phil and Paul, right now, talking about all the English-speaking riders that are doing well. It's pretty good.
Well, we're talking about Chavez and Dumoulin. They're not English-speaking riders. Dumoulin just sounds. His first name is Tom, so he's really easy.
He's the butterfly.
Who else has been impressing me is Luis Mentes from MT and Quebeca, who's inside the top 10. He's been climbing really well, and I had him on my tour team in the Velogames, and unfortunately he didn't. He only really shown in one stage there, but his promise is coming to fruition now. And
what about the other thing is? What about MTN getting another stage win? That's huge for them as a wild card team. Pulling stage wins in 2 Grand Tours this year. That's ridiculous. That's so great for them.
And pretty awesome wins. And guys, how about the biggest story of them all? That Heimar Zubeldia is currly beating Frank Schleck in the overall by like 5 minutes.
What did I say? I bet you $1 or something.
Hey, Trek Factor Racing's top GC guy right now, Heimar Zubeldia.
That's always.
Let's not talk about Heimar. Let's talk about, and I don't even remember his name, but the guy from Trek who won and then found out he had a broken bone in his hand.
That was pretty amazing.
That was his first pro win too, and that's pretty awesome. Like I don't know what it is about Trek. They sort of just, I don't know, like they feel sort of like this nameless void of a team currently to me.
Yeah.
When I see them, and like I think it's because like none of their star riders seem to do well anymore. Like Cancellara just breaks bones. Like obviously he's good, but he gets hurt so much. And then like Frank and Heimer, we know them, and they don't do anything. DeVolder doesn't do anything. And then the only guys that do anything are guys on their team we've never heard of. You know what I mean?
Jasper Stuyven.
But either way, I don't remember his name. I wish I did. That's a sweet win. Get your first win, even though you fell down in that huge pileup that day. Took out a lot of the big guys.
I mean, we're talking lots of big guys got taken out in that. And, you know, we still have... I mean, the carnage that's happening, and we'll get to the Peter Sagan hissy fit in just a second here, but Chris Beckman's still in a medically induced coma with facial injuries.
Yeah.
We had TJ Van Garderen dropping out of the race with I think a broken shoulder, right? Or collarbone?
Broken shoulder.
You've got...
that's a bad injury, man. I mean, that's going to be tough.
That's what Dan Martin had, too.
Yeah.
So both of those guys out.
You know, that's just kind of, it was carnage at the Vuelta with all types of people getting dropped out. It's a very, you hate to see that even to folks that you're not the biggest fans of, because you wish that they would get, just drop out of, inability to finish. Yeah. It's, the crashing you don't want to wish even on your enemies.
No, I mean, that was a bummer.
But yeah, so that was a big thing. And, now with Dan Martin out, Dan Martin's going to be changing teams. And then we also have Roberto Urán changing teams. So who got the better end of the trade here? Garmin, who's picking up Urán? Or do we have Quickstep, who's picking up Dan Martin? Who got the better end of the stick?
I don't know. It depends what you want. I think it kind of actually works better for each team in that Quickstep can't seem to ever get their GC thing together, no matter how many guys they've picked up through the years. Like they've got some second places in the Giro with Urán, but they're more about having a guy for the classics, and Dan Martin is perfect for them to ride in the Ardennes classics. Whereas Urán usually doesn't really hit those super hard, but he's there for GC, and that's Garmin's thing is the crazy GC, the random GC guy. So it kind of works out, I think. Plus, they're getting Pierre Roland.
Yeah, true. Stage hunter.
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for Quickstep though, because they're. I mean, I don't know. They're losing Urán and they're losing Kwiatkowski, and they're only gaining Dan Martin.
They're adding another. Well, yeah.
But they've got what's his name? They got the French guy who finished way up there this year. They're going to have a good Ardennes team. They just don't have any GC threats anymore on Quickstep.
Every week, little guy, the French guy, that guy.
What is his name? Alaphilippe.
Yeah.
Alaphilippe, that guy. I know. I don't know why I can't remember his name. There's some riders' names that how it is. There's some riders that even though they have
I remember
a name
everyone's name.
Never. No, you know what I mean. There's these riders' names that drill into your brain, and they're so easy to spot out, even though it's the least common name in my everyday life. And then there's some guys' names that I just cannot hold on to. And
you mean Domenico Pozzovivo?
I can remember Pozzovivo, but there's other names that the construction of it, I can see the letters in my brain, and then I go to pronounce it, nothing happens. I can see Alaphilippe or whatever his name is, I can see it kind of shaped out and written in my mind, and then I go for it and I'm no clue I don't have that, whatever, I don't know what it's technically called in the dictionary when it's written out phonetically. I do know what it's called. I don't have that.
Thanks, little guy. And this concludes today's lesson with the little guy.
Anyway,
so
I don't know what it is.
The other big news I think that all of us need to watch out for is that John Degenkolb is the only bona fide sprinter left in the race, so he's going to win the rest of the sprint stage.
Which, yeah. Well, he hasn't won any yet, so...
So if there was one Grand Tour you could do, which one would you do? Because now you've got the Giro, which has the passion and the history. You got the Tour, which is the biggest show in the world, right?
Pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. And then you got the Vuelta, which is just
awesome.
JV. It's just we're gonna try all types of we're gonna try all types of no, but we're gonna try all kinds of crazy stuff and see if it works, and then we'll bring it to the Tour. It's organized by the same people. That's what I mean. It's the trial run. And I don't know which one I would rather be in, to be honest, because while I like the Giro and this idea that you can wear pink and get away with it, and it's amazing, and you're like, oh, it's Italy, and I like the passion behind it, the Vuelta is quickly becoming the coolest race out there. Like, I actually care that it's 3 weeks this year. Maybe it's because I'm more into Velogames and more into, like, you know, trying to sound educated for our Richmond live show.
Yeah,
but
that's mainly.
You know, the sadness of I'm watching every stage. It's been great. Some of these climbs they're going up, they take, you know, the guys get onto the climb and then they're immediately paperboying it. Like, we're talking 19%. They have 6 stage finishes that they've never been on before. Like, where do they keep finding these roads? It's incredible, and I'm very, very excited for it.
I'm with you. It's kind of cool because the Volta kind of has nothing to lose. Like, for so many years, people were writing it off and talking crap about, you know, like people like you, Tim, saying it should be reduced to 2 weeks. Bunch of bullshit. We all could tell that it's a grand tour. That means it's 3 weeks long. If they ever make it 2 weeks, I'm boycotting it. I'm not talking about it.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I'm done. Fuck cycling if they're gonna do stupid shit like that. It's over. Like they have to stop. I know this, like, all this, like, cycling reform stuff in the last few years, and, like, they want to, like, bring more money into it and, like, more audience, but there's certain things they have to just get away from and stop trying to, like, better things by messing with good things. Like, grand tours are 3 weeks long, you know, like, it's just is. You can't mess with that, you know. You can't, like, be like, well, the World Series would play a lot better if we did more. We did 10 games, but they were all 5 innings. It'd be snappier for the fans, you know? It doesn't work.
All right.
No. We're talking about, like, a best 3 of 5 series as opposed to a 4 of 7, you know?
So
4 of 7, but shorter games, so you can knock them out in, like, one beer.
All right, and with that, we'll be right back with listener email, listener Twitter account, and then we got to talk about Peter Sagan being worse than that first grader you used to beat up in the playground.
This is Sarah Groff, U.S. Olympian, and this is the Slow Ride Podcast.
Hey, this is Jake Wells. Okay, go Super Ricky.
Ain't no rookies in here. This is Eric Saunders.
I wish that's what he said.
Right. Wait, no, that's not it. Okay, well, we're back. You know, guys, Twitter's been blowing up a little bit. So real quick, give a big shout out to Brianna.
Has there ever been a week where we didn't say, hey, Twitter's been blowing up?
No, but Brianna put a picture of, she is canning while she's listening to 4 episodes of the Slow Ride Podcast. And little guy, you need to get on the Twitter because she's got the ball jars out and she's got a bunch of peaches and she's canning. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I can't think of anything worse to do.
I bought lids tonight for canning. Like earlier tonight, I bought some. And Caitlin's actually in the kitchen right now. I think she's going to can some plum jam we made.
I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend, but we had a little blow up from Toronto. Apparently, we've got like 4 listeners in the Toronto metropolitan area. So what's up to all of our...
I like your city a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun city. So
little guy
some
insulted
questions.
our Toronto listener last week, and then
I did? How did I do that?
Well, the rest of them spoke up, and we're like, no, there's more than one. So that was exciting to see.
Oh, yeah, I did talk about Toronto. I totally forgot.
Oh, well, now we've just alienated all 4 of them again.
Did they confirm my Bell story?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Okay, all right, cool. I'm not crazy.
Hey, Diamond Geezer wants to know, hey, what are the best bikes you've ever ridden?
Ooh, I got one. You guys got one? Your best bike of all the bikes you've... Oh, no, it's really tough. I've got 2 best bikes that I've had.
No, you can only have one, little guy. What is it?
I got a best value and a best crazy.
Little guy? I think maybe me and you should both pick which bike of Tim's is our favorite that he bought.
Oh gosh, that's such like it's like.
All right, I'm game for this, guys. What was the best bike that I have ever purchased?
What's the Gilmore? obviously the bike you bought for Sarah, I think is the best one you ever purchased. Is it's like a 650 rear, a 24 front funny bike from the 80s, like track bike. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And
it's
I set it up as a
goofball.
coaster brake, and she loves
Set
it.
it up with a coaster. I'm sure she loves it, but it's goofy.
Like
It's
one
super
of those
goofy.
Rivendell style Nitto stems.
Yeah, you got to admit it's a goofy bike. I think
It's a pretty big stem.
My favorite bike of Tim's that he ever bought was the quote unquote Dean titanium frame that he bought off eBay
I forgot about that bike.
for like $100, and it turned out to be like a specialized hybrid frame that someone had stripped all the paint off of and put Dean stickers on.
Perfect decals, but it did, like, in the description on eBay, the guy did say, like, I mean, it says it's a Dean, but I don't know if it's a Dean. And I was like, well, it looks like a Dean to me.
the best thing about the Dean, though, is that Tim rode it and was obviously not happy with the performance of this bicycle. It's his cross bike.
Didn't really have a racy geometry.
Yeah, you like sold it to TC, our buddy TC.
Yeah, I did.
TC set it up, and I remember riding with TC, and TC was like, I don't know, man, that thing's terrible to ride. Like, he couldn't get it right either. And he just passed it on to someone. But I think by that point, the lie of it being a Dean was out, and he was like clear with the next owner that it was probably going to be garbage. I forgot about that, man. That was a great bike.
Well, thanks, guys. I would say my favorite bike was the Panasonic, but
that was an amazing.
Yeah.
So
why'd you get rid of that?
I got rid of the Panasonic because I didn't want a track bike anymore, and I wish I still had it.
This was
one of my biggest regrets is that I got rid of that.
It was a red and white Panasonic track bike that Super Ricky bought all gold components and like
wheel set.
He found these gold Velocity wheels.
Oh, remember the handlebars I got at the swap, the Mavic?
Yeah, he had like all gold stuff. It was really gaudy. It was a nice bike, but really gaudy. It was pretty great.
Fitting for Tim though. It was perfect. So, little guy, what's your favorite bike you've owned though?
Well, it's kind of tough. It's hard because I had a Dave Moulton for a while, and no one ever believed I had it because I was afraid to take it out of the house. But I had a Dave Moulton that was like this plum purple color with chrome lugs, and it was all Campy Super Record, and it was just so mint, and it was by far the nicest bike I've ever owned, and it was just so gorgeous, and it was a little too small for me, but the price was so right that I bought it, and it sat in a room in my house for like 2 years, and I just stared at it and dreamed about it, but barely ever rode it. But the nicest bike I actually owned was that Concorde.
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember what is it? Aquila? Is that the model? It was in the PDM colors. It was Concorde frame, SLX tubing, internal cable routing. That was like, I don't know why I sold that. I know why I sold it because I didn't need it, because I didn't need I had like 4 road bikes at the time. Why do I need a 4th? And it was like the lowest one on the totem pole. But I just set that up as like my winter training bike with a bunch of like old Superb Pro Endures. And when I think back, I was like, man, that was like my favorite bike. Like, I don't know why I got rid of that. It was so nice. It was like I set it up with all my beater old, like my nice stuff that was really old and falling apart. And then it was my favorite bike. I shouldn't have got rid of that. I sold it for the frame and fork like $200 on Craigslist, like a total dummy.
So it's still floating around in Minneapolis somewhere, probably.
Probably, man. I look for those things on eBay now and then. You know, because those Concords were built by Ciocc or whatever, CIOCC.
Isn't that Ciocc?
Ciocc. I never know how to pronounce it, so I look for those because I've had a couple bikes that were built out of that tubing, even like the Moulton, and I had a Racine, and that is the only, like, all those Columbus SLX tube frames I've had. Like that one, just it had something extra. I don't know what it is, but it was just good. I don't know. Anyway,
and
it's the magic.
Spencer, what was your best ever bike?
Well, my favorite or my most cherished bike is the Zeus road bike that I have from, I think it's like a 76 or something with all the Zeus components on it. That was awesome. I was really, really stoked on that for a long time. I still have the frame. I can't get rid of it. It's, sitting in the back of a closet basically right now. Don't know what to do with it. I've been meaning to repaint it, stuff like that, build it up, but It's going to be one of those projects I don't start on for 20 years or something. But my favorite bike to ride, the one that was, still to this day, I think is the best bike I've ever ridden. And again, like little guy, I don't know why I sold it, and I regret it every day since. I had a Time carbon frame it was like mid 2000s, 2008, 2009, something like that. Just a Time Pulse. It wasn't even like their nicest model, but it rode so nice. It was 100% worth it. Like if you can afford even the bottom level Time, get it, because they ride fantastically.
So I think that the key to all of these stories, guys, with how awesome these bikes are that we've ridden and experienced. And Graham Partain gave me the great advice on the Twitter. He said, "Hey, I think Tim, you need to buy the Moot cycles right away and then ask Sarah for forgiveness." And all of these stories of cool bikes that we have and that we've ridden is that we just don't kick them when an innocent bystander picks up the bike after you're taken down by a moto. The guy's just trying to help you, and then you just kick it out of his hands and you put on you put on the biggest hissy fit. You are a professional athlete, Peter.
Tim, in his defense, he rides Specialized.
In his defense, he is a professional athlete and got taken out. In the middle of his job.
No, because here's the thing: is that like if that type of thing happens in any other type of sporting event, those guys are fined and they're put on probation for a long time.
Well, he was fined.
Yeah, 200 Swiss francs or whatever. The point is that yes, it was a horrible thing that happened to him. Absolutely uncalled for. I can understand passion, but it looks to me like he's spitting on the medical car. And then he's going after just like innocent, like the guy's holding up the bike and you throw it out of his hands. Like at some point you need to be a professional and you need to be like, you know what? That wasn't your fault, dude, on the side of the road. That wasn't your fault, medical car person. Like, come on. Take it out on him in a different way. I just, that whole like, oh, it was in the heat of the moment thing. That's what criminals do.
Yeah. That's true. You're totally right about that stuff. I mean, he shouldn't have done that. I can understand him being upset, and you're right.
I totally can.
It's hard. Well. It's hard to know how to react in a situation. I've thrown my bike.
He should not be allowed in any other race until the Vuelta is over, just like Nibali.
Well, he won't be. Yeah, he won't be. I'm sure he won't be.
Good.
Well, maybe they won't because he crashed out. Maybe they'll be nice.
I don't care. No, like I think that the UCI should just create a new rule that says if you start a race and you don't finish, you can't race until that race is done.
That is a rule. They don't have to make a new rule. That's the rule.
they just decide to enforce it every now and then.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to ask. You have to ask permission to get out of it. So the Volta would have to grant him permission. Like the Volta would have to be like, it's cool.
It's not cool,
and they're not going to say that.
The Volta is going to say it's cool because they're going to want him to come back the next year.
They don't have to. So, as much as the Volta is supposedly the least, the low tour on the tour totem pole, people are going to show up because it's always preparation for Worlds. They always have that in their back pocket. It's like it's the best preparation for Worlds every single year. So
you think it's better than Tour of Alberta?
Yeah, I do think it's better than Tour of Alberta.
Yeah.
It's the best preparation. Like everybody that wants to do Worlds pretty much is shows up at the Volta. Or they do like another series of races like Tour of Britain, or they do the like Pro Tour races in Canada that seem awesome, but like the route to the Volta is like the standard route, So they've always got that. They don't have to worry about people going away.
All right.
So what about the guys who are riding the Volta, but they're not shoo-ins for Worlds. They're not maybe at the top pointy end of that Vuelta race. So maybe they're going to finish a little further down the standings.
So like a position where you're good enough to be up there, and maybe you do a last-minute attack that gets pulled back, and you kind of are still around the pointy end, but you're not Degenkolb.
I see what you guys are saying. But you're thinking like on a climbing stage, right? Maybe?
Probably like... well, for example, the 16th stage of the Vuelta would be a perfect example of something like this.
Yeah, it's only the second hardest stage.
Yeah, like someone maybe finishing like 16th. You think that would be something?
That's kind of got a ring to it. 16th place on the 16th stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
And I'm looking at the 16th
Okay.
stage profile, guys. That is a ridiculous set of days. 7 categorized climbs, including a new finishing ascent, another new finishing ascent.
Yeah.
6.6K that averages 10%. Back in the day,
Ouch.
you wouldn't even have to wear a helmet up to the top of that. And that's another rule the UCI should get rid of. Let the guys take the helmets off when you're climbing the mountain. It just looks
On
cool.
the last climb,
because
you want him to go back to the 2003.
It just looks
Yes.
cool.
It just looks
Helmet
cool.
off on the
I want to
last
see the
climb.
golden locks. Can you imagine seeing just Degenkolb's awesome hair?
So that's the thing, though. That's true. This is a good point, Tim.
Yeah.
The days before helmets were mandatory all the time, or just the dudes wore the hairnet helmets. Hair was important, and now we know Kittle's hair because he does it all up for the start of the race. But not a lot of other guys really have impressive hair. Like Daniel Oss has some pretty good hair occasionally, but there's not good hair in the peloton. There's Simon Gash on Giant Alpecin.
Yeah,
He's
you're
got a
probably
big. You know who
thinking
had
of-
good hair was Iran, and then he cut his hair and he's been crappy all year. He's got to grow that mullet back.
So what do you guys think for finishing 16th,
16th
place
place?
on that 16th stage?
All right.
You guys got predictions? I want to hear them.
I've got some predictions.
I got a
I
prediction.
want to know who's still in the race. Because, see, here's the thing. Is that so many racers are now just out of content. They don't even exist anymore, right? So, I mean, this has to be one of the highest rates of attrition that we've seen out of Vuelta or any Grand Tour in a long time.
It's hot.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I think the key for 16 stage is tomorrow. So tomorrow being today, when you're listening to this podcast, the day after the rest day, they're gonna do this probably the hardest stage of the Vuelta, and that's gonna change. That's gonna change everybody's goal for the race. So some guys are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm in the GC and I'm good." Some guys are gonna blow up tomorrow and they're gonna be out of the GC. So they're going to be going for stage wins, or they're just going to drop out. So it's hard to know in a week in the 16th stage, and we're looking at the 11th stage right now.
All right, I've got it.
What's going to happen? But I'm calling my shot. Pozovito.
Posavivo? All right, I got mine. Sammy Sanchez.
Oh, I like that
Sammy
because
Sanchez.
it's something I would have done.
It's funny,
in the tour, but I didn't.
I wish I would have got to pick for you guys because that's actually exactly who I would have picked each one of you picking. This is kind of
well.
amazing.
I'm going to pick. I would say
I
mine
knew-
would have
I
picked-
knew
I'm going to
you
pick
was-
Kevin
I
Reza
could've
for you
finished
then,
higher.
Spencer.
Who?
Kevin
I
Reza.
knew, I knew
You think
knew
Reza's
Timmy
gonna
was on the
finish
BMC.
16?
No, but Spencer would
yeah,
pick
no,
that.
it's more of a sprinter. No,
He's gonna
my
be-
pick for 16th on that stage is our first week hero, Aurica Grainage, superstar, Esteban Chavez.
All
He's
right.
going to be up with the front group, but he's not going to come over the top with them.
And the other, there we
Can I
have it.
change my pick?
No.
Can I change my pick?
Okay, who are you picking?
I'm thinking, you know who was really good last year is from BMC, DeMarc or whatever. Remember that guy? He hasn't shown much this year, but I feel like he's going to start laying it on because he really wants to be on that Worlds team.
All right.
That's my
So-
pick. Do you guys remember in the Worlds last year when, did you watch the part where Kwiatkowski bridged across to the break and DeMarc looks back and he notices that Kwiatkowski has just joined them and his head just slumps.
Are you talking about
you
the
can
attack?
just
You're talking about Alessandro DeMarchi of BMC.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, he just his head, you can see that he takes his pull, he looks back and he's he notices who it is in the group and he just all the life drains out of him because he just realized he has zero chance of winning the world championship.
So we've got DeMarchi from the little guy. We have Chavez from Spencer, and then I'm going to take Sammy Sanchez. Make sure you hashtag 16th place, and then we will run a little competition. Maybe buy you a Natty Bow at the live show in Richmond, Virginia, coming up here at the end of September. And that leads into the other contest we're running, guys, just real quick, because we do need to talk about two other important issues in the world of cycling today. The Velogames Vuelta, La Vuelta Slow Ride. Right now, Rosa is in first place with the speed limits, followed by Brandon Thornton's Chocolate and Cheese, and then Philippe with Petrozalka Pop Rod. And Spencer, actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You're in 6th place, still off the wide-angle podium, but I'm sure you're going to let us know how awesome you're doing. So good
Very
work
awesome.
there.
Yeah.
You do have Dumoulin. Big shout-out to Roller Derby, who I hope beats you. And then I am a little bit behind you, still within striking distance. I'm pretty happy with how I'm doing down there. And little guy, I have to go a little ways to get to Kobo. A little disappointing.
Had a lot of problems so far. We're at the first rest day, you guys. It's a lot of mountaintop finishes left. A lot of time for Aru and Posavio and Valverde to really put the hurt on. So don't get too cocky.
I just want to let you guys know I'm destroying you, and I'm 3 guys down. I am 3 guys down. Like right now, I don't have Sagan, I don't have TJ, and I don't have Cancellara.
Hey,
So,
big shout outs
with
to Brian Girding, who is now very close to beating me and Spencer within striking distance, destroying little guy. But Girding, not bad. Really turned
early.
it on.
It's early days. Girding's he's gonna sink like a stone. You know he is.
All right. So, guys, the other thing we need to talk about, Cross World Cup is coming up in Las Vegas at Cross Vegas. I will be there. USA announced their roster, a double allotment of racers for Cross World Cup. Obviously, Results Boy ran the data. There were a couple of snubs, but there were a couple of people that turned down invitations, most notably Logan Owen, who will be going for the Road World Championships in Richmond on the U23 team. And, the big one, Justin Lundeen. But the biggest story of it all was UCI now stating that you can no longer enter the pits to take a bottle feed, that you must now put a cage on your bike if you want to take water or any type of feed in cyclocross. So, gentlemen, how is this going to affect racing? And secondly, are we just going to see people going in for more pit changes or bike changes in the pit where they'll have one bike that has a bottle cage on and then one that doesn't?
If that's the case, that's stupid. I mean, really, like it's not going to slow you down that much to have like a water bottle with like a third of a bottle, like third filled with water. Like these guys freaking out about the bottle, like I do not understand. Like half the races you have so much mud on your bike, it weighs 35 pounds. Like this, it just sounds like the most pathetic thing ever. Just put a cage on your bike. And that's why cross bikes have those really low, like on the seat tube, like if you have a good cross bike, like that was actually like the manufacturer thought about shit, they put the mounts really low so you can still shoulder the bike with a cage on there, you know?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is pretty ridiculous. Personally, what's wrong with just wearing a skin suit that has a pocket? Just throw your water bottle in the back there.
Because you'll never get it back in. Have you ever tried to? You've seen those skin suits with pockets. Have you ever tried to take something out and then put it back in?
I use it all the time. That's why I'm a winner.
You think you could take a bottle out of a skin suit pocket and then during the race put it back in without losing 10 spots?
I don't know what you do when you're racing,
little
guy, but when I'm racing, it totally works.
Wait, you didn't answer my question. That was like a total political dodge. Like, no, I totally agree. Green energy is awesome. Next question, please. Like, no, like you think you can put it back in?
Tim's 100% on board with losing 10 spots during a race. It's fine.
No, I mean,
well, we don't even have 10 people. We don't even have 10 people in a cyclocross race down here, Spencer. So, come on.
I'm assuming, Tim, you start cross races, I'm assuming, with 3 water bottles in your jersey pockets, right?
Why do you guys always make fun of me for the amount of water bottles I have? I love carrying water. And the thing is that people always come up to me at the end and they're like, hey, can I borrow some water? And you know what I say? I look at them and I say, no.
Despite the fact that you love carrying water, I don't think you ever brought me a water bottle once in a race.
Why would I? Why would I? I was always towing you back up to the front after you had a flat tire or a mechanical.
Yeah,
you'll never. That one race, I got a flat.
Yeah.
So
who stopped for you?
And why did you stop for me? That
because I care and I'm a teammate. Why would you stop for me?
No, like so the story.
Wait, would you stop for me?
It's a Minnesota race. So it's 5 miles in each direction, and then you take a right turn and you go 5 miles. It's flat and windy. I get a flat. I pull over. I get a wheel from like the neutral service car. Like I take somebody else's wheel. But by the time the change happens, I mean, I'm really far behind. There's no chance I'm making it back to this group of like 30 guys. What do? I ride as hard as I can to try to get back. And after a little bit, I'm like, well, this isn't happening. And then I see a rider floating back toward me. And I'm like, that could be Tim, could it? No, he's the only other guy on our team in the race. What? And Tim's like, all right. I waited for you, and I'm like, why did you do that? We're never going to get back on. In a million years, we will never get back on. And we did not get back on.
But it was the thought that counts. And I've also tried to do this for Spencer at the some race in Super Week. Because you guys would – because I know you would do it for me, but I use tires that work.
You were the team leader at that point, Tim.
Oh, those were the days. I can't – wait, I was the team leader?
The second I got a flat – You were the only one other on the team. You shouldn't have stopped for me. This is why we needed to have radios. So I could be like, Tim, don't even think about it. Stay in the race, you weirdo.
Well, I tried. So anyways, water bottles on cages, this whole – do you guys think this is an okay rule for the UCI to enforce? To me, it just seems like there's probably bigger fish to do or to worry about. But sure, like why not? I don't really care.
Here's the thing I think. I think it's fine because you probably don't need a bottle during most races anyway. It's only an hour at the absolute maximum. But I think the confusion is that last year everybody figured out that they could take a feed if they wanted to, but not in the first 2 laps or the last 2 laps. And it was this weird thing where nobody did it really before, and then they realized they could, so they kind of started to. And everybody got confused because the rule is stupid because the UCI wrote it. And so the UCI actually did something and fixed it and was like, you know what? That was dumb. Let's just take that out. And now everybody's mad. Whereas if they'd have done it 2 years ago, nobody had noticed. And I mean, really.
Go on. Finish. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it boils down to Svengate from Vegas last year, where he took the illegal feed, should have been DQ'd by the rules, won the race, and then they didn't feel like DQing him because he won. And it's, would be embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say that this is the UCI's sneaky way to make us in America stop pushing cross season ever farther into August.
That could be that too.
Like, it's their subtle way of being like, hey, assholes, this is a fall and winter sport.
Yeah, you shouldn't need water. It shouldn't be 100 degrees.
Yeah, like it shouldn't start until mid-September. It shouldn't start in August. Yeah, you shouldn't need water.
Well, so this whole Spencer, you put out a tweet about how you were like, hey, don't just train without water bottle taking, right? Like 60-minute race, you don't need water or whatever. Yeah. And then that made me think about, do you remember that one ride we went on with Sexy Adam? And it was like a 60-mile ride and he didn't bring water. And we're like, dude, where's your water bottle? He's like, I don't bring water if it's less than 60 miles.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of. I was like,
true. You got to train like Sexy Adam.
Yeah,
I can tell you guys. I raced last Wednesday, first cross race of the year.
It had 250 people. I heard.
Yeah, it'll be the biggest race of the year in Minnesota. I had a water bottle cage and a water bottle on my bike, but it had no water in it.
Wait, second.
It's empty.
Spencer, why is that stupid? Why is it stupid that 250 people showed up to a Wednesday night cross race? I think it sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Why is it stupid?
Part of it is awesome, and part of it is really stupid.
Okay, enlighten me why more of it is stupid. Why that was the first thing you thought of when we said 250 people. I'm curious.
Well, because there's not enough time in the day to give everybody a legit race. The course itself, the park isn't suited to giving everybody a legit race. And, it's a training race. I don't know. I don't think anybody's getting, half of those people aren't getting a quality event out of it. And that's just kind of a bummer. If they're going to do something like that, I would like to see it like the low categories only. You know what I mean? Like beginners, 4.5s in a women 4 race or whatever. And, the masters and the 1, 2, 3 guys, like they know how to train, they know how to race. Like maybe give people a chance. And I'd like to see our weekend races in Minnesota get 250 people. Like none of them get 250 people. So
yeah, but
it's embarrassing. That Wednesday night race gets more than your weekend races. What does that say? That's weird.
You know what it says? You know what it says is that the weekend races are too far. Yeah, I mean, it says
Too
that the weekend
far?
races are in stupid spots. They're too
Okay.
far away. They're too
You
far
are
away, and they cost $30.
You're
This race
100%
costs
spoiled.
$15. No,
So-
but you know what? It's all relation. It's not. It doesn't matter how far you're driving. It's a difference of like. So someone want to drive to Baker Orchard and spend $30, or do they want to ride the Greenway for 30 minutes? Like a 30-minute nice bike ride where you can do the whole thing on a trail and barely have any interaction with cars, and then only pay $15 and do a race, and every one of your friends is there. And the end of it, you stop for pizza and beer on the way home. Or do you want to drive to Baker Orchard, maybe stop at a shitty grocery store, get lost, end up at the flea pick and flea market? That's scary.
Okay,
There's some
that's
weird
bike
dudes
racing.
there.
No, well,
That's what
yeah.
bike racing is.
I know we think that's what bike racing is, but unfortunately, there's a new generation of people that are like, that's stupid. You're wasting your time and your money. You should just do these local races that you can ride to and not waste all your time doing crap. I'm picking on Baker Orchard here, which they're not like this worst race, but like they're just the first race of the season that I'm going to locally be able to go to that's on a weekend.
Yeah.
So that's the
There's-
one most fresh.
you don't
For
like
Baker
them
Orchard, I'm sorry.
because they're a competitor
I'm
to
sure
your
so.
orchard. But
Yeah, this is true.
so
Get your apples out of this place.
So Spencer, I'm trying to flesh this out a little bit, and I know that you're not like saying the whole thing is stupid.
No,
But what do you
it's great.
see? So like I hear what you're saying there, but there's some things that I want to flesh out the answer. So are you suggesting that like there should be 2 nights of racing then? Because what you're saying is like, oh, this race should only be for beginners, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose. Like there seems to be 250 people that somewhat are enjoying themselves. This isn't like this is.
Well,
they're
that's-
getting
that's
lots of
just
people
it.
that show up. So isn't it on the
when you-
promoters to put together a better event on the weekends to get them to go? Because it seems like a promoter's cashing in on something that we probably should have done. And if we were doing this, we would laugh all the way to the bank. We would be sitting there going, hell yeah, we got 250 people. Next year, we're going to charge $20. And I don't care about daylight savings time. We'll hold up flashlights. We're going to start you.
Well, that's the thing is like if you're willing to pay half the price to get half of the quality of event, I guess more power to you. But I'd rather race better events, and I'm willing to pay for it. I'm willing to pay for the quality. You know, like.
But here's the thing: is I don't think you can say it's a direct half. Like the course last week was a good course. It was fun, and it's
I don't
granted
know.
they
I
don't
saw
have
the
like
photos, and there's
you saw
going every
photos. What the hell
direction.
do you saw photos? I mean, come on, that's not.
I mean, I've
you have
raced
no
out there
idea.
before. Come on, I've raced.
I
out
know,
there.
but I'm telling you, the courses are better than they used to be.
Yeah. I've raced out there, and I've done pretty much every job you could do out there. I'm pretty
just
familiar
saying.
with.
The courses are better than they used to be out there. And 2, there isn't a lot to work with. It's true. Like they have one feature, it's grass, and they have a hill. There's no mud. There's no like.
I guess
other
I'm turning
technical
into a New England cross elitist right now because
Yeah.
we don't need chip timing at your Wednesday night race.
Well, see, I don't know about that, though.
We obviously agree about that.
No, but here's the thing on that, guys. Like, here's the thing on this. That I was thinking about this chip timing thing because I knew it was going to come up. They had 250 people that showed up, right? Now, think about that. You're trying to cram all of those races together. Even if...
You shouldn't have to do.
Well, but they have to because they're trying to put on... Well, then they just shouldn't put on an event is what you're saying, which I think is...
No, you're making stuff up. I said they should have a training race for beginners.
Okay,
I
well,
think it
they're
should
the
be like a
promoters. They can do whatever they want.
skills-based-
So, like, if you don't like it, just don't show up, right?
But
I don't
nobody
show
wants to do like a skills based like training session as opposed to do a race.
And
Like people want to
so
do a
when
race.
I look at all the photos and everybody's got pretty shitty form, that's what I think is, man,
But
they
that's
should really
everywhere.
It doesn't
Everywhere,
matter, though.
everyone has pretty shitty form. Like everywhere.
here.
That's why there's lower categories. Oh bullshit! Like all your Cat 3s are like fucking smooth dismounts. They just happen to not be able to go over 5 miles an hour. You know.
Cross clash.
Come on out here, little guy. I will pay for whatever race entry fee you want, whatever race you want to enter, local or UCI. I don't care.
But
You
I
know
don't
I
think...
want to run to the
Look,
UCI.
I
You
don't...
don't want to get crushed by J-Pow. You know I don't care about racing
No.
those local
I
dorks.
did UCI race, but I'm registering you for the 2-3 race so that you can
Alright.
see how our 2-3s are.
Well,
I just
Spencer, I don't think
people have
anybody's disagree.
Like good form does not always translate
I
into
don't-
great racing, and
Can't
vice
people
versa.
time out. Can't people just have fun on a Wednesday night and go race with some buddies? And if they got chip timing and it's done right away, like, can't that just happen? Like,
no.
Good for you.
You were
Like,
onto something there, and then you went off track. You said, "Can they have fun on a Wednesday night?" Yes. With chip timing and 250 other people on a 1K course? No, that's crazy. You can't have both. It's like oil and water.
I think people did have both though. Like, I know you don't want to believe it, but I think people had fun.
I don't know, man. When I get
had fun.
When I get crashed out by weird juniors, like at that race.
wait,
because
why
there's
were they
too many
weird?
people on the course,
Why were the juniors weird?
because they sprint in diagonal lines and run into me.
I thought they were
yell.
goofy. I thought they were goofy. Like the kid, like had.
No, they made
kid
me
was
look
like, hey,
like a jerk.
You want to play GI Joes?
I forgot about that. I had totally not remembered about that junior.
Yeah, because
your
you're
junior problem you had.
Right?
Yeah, no, I mean that was totally that was not your thing.
Yeah, he sprinted into the side of me, fell over, crashed himself out in front of his dad.
What'd the dad
And
do?
I'm like,
What'd the
dude,
dad
I'm
do?
really sorry, but I didn't do anything. He
Yeah.
was behind me, and he came into the side of me. And what am I supposed to do?
I had not thought about that for a long time. That was really funny.
What did the dad do?
Nothing.
He was
Nothing.
like,
He knew.
Oh, shucks.
He was embarrassed. He was like, my kid just ran into that guy.
But
I am
man,
going to
if
put my head down to the car as
Yeah.
quick as I can. Shame.
Guys, we got a review real quick. I just want to read, and we'd love to thank everyone that subscribes to iTunes and Stitcher that leaves reviews. It helps with our ranking. Email your friends. Let them know. Heck, maybe buy a $5 ticket to our live show in Richmond, Virginia. And Spencer, what time does the live show, and where can people get tickets, and what theater is it at?
live show is September 25th at 10 p.m. at the Coalition Theater in Richmond, Virginia.
That all broke
And
up.
you
So
can
you
go
said
to-
that all broke up. So you said the Coalition Theater in Richmond, Virginia.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can go to bit.ly/slowrva, and that'll take you to our page where you can get tickets.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks for doing that.
I'm going to totally need a nap that day. 10 o'clock? Oh, man. That's pretty late.
Yeah, we should probably come up with a script, guys.
Yeah, we'll work that out. Well, I think we should each individually write our own scripts on the airplane and then see if they match up.
Okay. Real quick, a review from Midwest Steersman left a review for us. 5 stars. Fun stuff. Almost as good as the Two Johns podcast. And with that, we'd like to thank you for listening to the 72nd episode
We
of the
didn't
Slow
even
Ride
talk
podcast.
about my picture that I made file photo status, Tim. I wanted you to know I made file photo status at NPR. I know you're file photo status at Star Tribune, but
Yes.
I'm file photo status at NPR on the NPR website.
Tell me more.
They did, because I think they must have listened to our piece about Greenway passing that we did last week. They had a call-in segment on Monday with some really good guests, one from Grease Rag and one from Major Taylor, who had good things to say. And it was all about etiquette and passing on the Greenway and sort of how we can all share the trail between fast people and jerks doing Strava and commuters and recreational cyclists that are going really slow, and how we can all kind of try to share that space, and how it's a good problem that this is the problem we have, you know.
And
But the best thing is if you go to the NPR website and you go to find the link to that story, there's a little picture of some bikers, and it's the lower half of my body and my bike. It's really exciting.
is it the teapot?
No, it's my road bike. It's the match. It's during the Uptown Crit.
Oh, nice.
So
Well,
anyway,
congratulations on being,
It says file. So
yeah,
they're going to
congratulations.
pull that one out every time.
Yeah, congratulations catching up to me from the year 2000 when I was the cover story of the Minneapolis Star Tribune on election result day for Messenger Fashion. You guys may remember that. It was the Euskatel hat that really just set it apart.
Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty cool.
And
I'll catch up to you.
we'd like to thank BK1 for his awesome song from the album Radio du Cannibal, which on Rhymesayers Entertainment for the outro and intro music. And as always, We'd like to have you wave to your fellow spandex clown suit wearing nerds whenever you see them out there on the road, because they're one of us. Because when you don't wave, you're that guy, and you don't want to be that guy.
That's true.
Very true.
Toodles.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.
According to the race predictor, I'm currently on the podium at the Trek Cross Cup. Because there's only six people registered. So I'm currently on a podium in a UCI race predictor wise.